Hey guys, welcome back. So in this program we will try to understand one more very important interview questions we often get asked. So they will give you one array and they will ask you to find the first and second smallest number. Okay, like they will ask you to find out the two number which is going to be the first and second smallest number in the array. Usually when we get this question, somehow we would have seen this program on the internet. We'll start writing the same thing, but don't do the same thing in the interview. Please first explain them what you should do and how you should approach this program. Okay, so look at this program. They are asking you to write a logic where you can fetch first smallest and second smallest. So in beginning we have to assume that. So let's say in beginning I'll assume that my first smallest number is equal to 12 and my second smallest number is equal to 13, right? So I will go and straight away I will assume my first smallest is equal to array of 0 and my second smallest is equal to array of 13. Why I am saying that? Why we should assume that? There is a logic for that. And then once we'll assume that, then we will write some logic. So we know that this is my first smallest, this is my second smallest, and I have already consumed these two data. Okay, I have already consumed these two data. Then we have to write, actually, and one more thing guys, to achieve that we need to run a for loop. So one for loop is sure, we need to write one for loop, because that for loop will iterate over the elements of the array, and inside outside the for loop we'll assume that my first smallest is equal to 12 and my second smallest is equal to 13. Then how we should approach this inside the for loop? So let me show you how you should explain them. So you say that you will write one for loop which will run 0 to n, right? 0 to n. Okay, so it will run 0 to n minus 1. There is one for loop will run 0 to n minus 1, right? This is the for loop. Inside the for loop we need to write one if. So in if, what we have to write, this we have assumed guys. Okay, this we have assumed. So you write if your index, whatever you have, which is nothing but a of, let's say, I, because you are running that 0 to n minus 1, this is nothing but I is equal to 0, this is I, a of I. If this guy is actually less than first smallest number, assume that if this guy is less than first smallest number, so whatever first smallest number you have assumed, even this number is lesser than that, which means what is it is indicating that? It is indicating that there is another number which is lesser than what you have already assumed, right? So in that case what will happen? Since there is another number which is lesser than what I have assumed, so and my second smallest number is the next one. So in this case what happens? My second smallest number will change, will become what? It will become first smallest number. My second smallest number data will change, and whatever my first smallest I had, that will come here, and my first smallest, whatever my first smallest I have, that will become a of I, right? Let me explain you how I am able to understand this. Okay, so I am saying that there is a guy, there is a I which is less than first. You just talk here. Okay, you talk here, you came here, you are running a for loop. So before that nothing will happen. You come here because you have already assumed. So when you will reach here by running a for loop guys, you got a 1. Is 1 less than fs? First smallest? Yes. 12. Yes, 1 is less. So if the first smallest is there is a number which is lesser than first smallest, right? And this was your second smallest. So now you go back and think about your question. The question was to find out first and second smallest number in the array. So when we have assumed my first smallest is this, and then there is a number which is bigger than first smallest, which is equal to second smallest. right? You got it. So we had to find two small number, and we already know that my first smallest number is equal to 12, my second smallest number is equal to 13. Now you got a number in your array which is even lower than the first smallest, which is nothing but 1. So when this number is even lower than the first smallest, so whatever your assumption had, that need to be changed, right? Because technically here there is another number which is lower than 12, right? There is another number which is lower than 12. So 1 became now first, and second will be 12, right? Because 13 is not anymore now second smallest number. You got it? Now 13 is not anymore second smallest number. So 1 became first now, and second smallest number is equal to 12. You got it? That is the reason your second smallest number will become the first smallest number, and your first smallest number will become a of I. Clear? So this is one logic. If this number, the a of I, is less than the first smallest number. Now there could be another case, guys. So this was our first assumption. In first assumption we have assumed this is the first smallest and this is the second smallest. Now by doing the comparison we came to know that there is another number which is even smaller than the first one. When it is even smaller than the first one, then after calculations what we figured out this is going to be the first and this is going to be the second smallest, because now 13 is not anymore second smallest. Now this was the two number 1, 12. Now think about this 10, this guy 10, right? Now you came to 10. Now when you came to the 10, right, now you try to correlate here 1, 12 we have, this is first, this is second smallest number. Now you got a 10. So of course 10 is bigger than 1, right? 10 is bigger than 1, but definitely 10 is not bigger than 12, right? 10 is not bigger than 12, and this is your second smallest number. So you can write one more else if. You got it? How you should frame the program. In else if you can write if the a of I is lesser than second smallest number, right? And also write that and, then you put an AND operator. Why I am saying that? Because you also make sure that a of I is not is equal to first smallest number. Like let's say there should not be repeated character. Otherwise if there is a repeated character, then there is no point, because you have to find first and second smallest number. Now look at this logic, guys. Focus on this. I am saying that a of I is less than second smallest number, and if it is not equal to first smallest, in the sense of, let's say again you have one more here also, no? So that I have to make sure that my first smallest is not going to repeat it again. So I'm writing that it should not be the same. So now what will happen here? You got a 1, you got a 12. Now there's a number called 10, so it will come to the else if. In else if, when it will come, in this case my 12 is not anymore second smallest number. You got it? So my first smallest number is 1, right? So let me again let me just 1 second, guys. Yeah, so let me write with a different color. So now my first smallest is equal to 1, my second smallest is going to be the 10, guys. You got it? Now 12 is not anymore, this guy is not anymore second smallest number, right? This is still first, but this guy is not second. Your second became 10, which means here also you have to go and write one logic. The logic should be your second smallest number should get updated with a of I, right? That's it. Here you should not touch the first, because when you are touching the first, you have done this logic. In case of first, both will change, as I have explained, because there is a data which is even lower than the first smallest, then your second will also change, because 13 is not anymore second smallest. You got it? How you should frame the logic. Now you got 110. Now you came to 34. Yes, 34 is not small than first smallest. No, 34 is also not smaller than 10. Of course it will not do anything. Then again 1 came, guys. This is misleading one. So 1 came, it will check for the first. So 1 less than 1, no, right? So here nothing will happen. It will come to the else if. Now in else if, yes, 1 is lesser than 10, of course, but at the same time I have written these conditions. it should not be equal to the first one. Okay, if again, I mean, it's up to you. If you want to write this, write that. I would ask you to in the interview explain this, because there is no point showing them 1,1 as output. Okay, I don't like that. So it's better so that the second smallest, which is nothing but 10. So even in that case nothing will happen, and this is your output 1,10, right? How easy this program is now. You got it? Just by thinking you are able to solve this program. Okay, and you are able to understand now why you should change the second smallest and first smallest. Because of this, because if there is any number which will even lower than the 12, then this is going to be the second smallest, and the number which is lower than 12 is going to be the first, because 13 is not anymore second smallest number in the array, right? Now see that how we can do the same program through Eclipse. So same logic, whatever I have explained, if you are able to write the same logic in the Eclipse, you are done, right? Let's see that. So guys, try to understand now. This is the logic which I have. These two number, this is just precautionary measure. I am making sure that length should not be greater than 2. Length should not be lesser than 2. If it is lesser than 2, there is no point of writing this program. Okay, then in beginning I am assuming that first smallest is equal to 0, second smallest is equal to 1. We are running the for loop I0 array dot length plus plus. Okay, since it is 0, I am running that less than length, because you know that length will start from 1 whereas index start from 0. So I am doing that less than 1, and then the same logic whatever I told you, this if and else, same thing I have written here. Okay, same logic. So first two for this first two data 12, 13, nothing will happen, because this number we have already assumed here, first and second number, right? So it will not change. But the moment you are running a for loop, when it will start from this 1, 10, 13 and 1, the data will start changing it and you will get output. So you put a pause here on the video. Please try to go through this logic again. Please, without looking this code, you write in your Eclipse, you are able to get the answer, you are good, right? Because whatever I explained you, same thing I am doing that. I am checking that if the index is lesser than first smallest, then second smallest becomes the first smallest, and first smallest becomes the number which you are getting that. In case of this, only second smallest will change. Why the second smallest will change? As I have told you, because you have in beginning you have already assumed the first smallest is equal to 12, the second is equal to 30. Now when you are going in the if side, in if side there is a data which is even smaller than 12. So let's say 1 became first, then 12 will be second smallest, right? Because now 13 is not anymore second smallest, so this is 2 is the first and second. But when you go there is a conditions when you go into the else if. So let's say assume that data is equal to 10. Now the 10 basically is lower than 12, so your first is not going to change, but second one will change, because when it is 10, so now your second lowest is not going to be 12, now it is going to be the 10. So first has no impact, right? That is the reason in the else if you are only changing the second small number, right? And I hope that with this you are clear. After doing all the exercise, I just have if else conditions to print that. So in if I'm just checking that you know that integer has a max value, so you don't need to actually check that. What you can do better, you can print that. Okay, you don't have to do anything, you can just go and print that. Let me just refine the program a little bit. So what you can do that is, you don't need to do this. Okay, remove everything, just keep these conditions. Yeah, and you will just keep the conditions, and let me erase it, because anyways I have explained you. Now let's run this program. This is important program. This often you will get in the interview. People, they might ask you in the interview. So let's run that. When you run that, you will get the output 1 and 10, right? So 1 is the first smallest number, 10 is the second smallest number, and actually if you go and see the program, 1 is yes, it is the first, and second is 10 is the second smallest number. I ignore this intentionally by writing the logic, like whenever the two number is equal in the array, don't do that. So instead of that, you can go and you can change this to 3. You should get first smallest is equal to 1 and the second smallest is equal to 3. So look at here, first is equal to 1, second is 3, and I hope that I'm clear. My explanation was clear. If you liked it, please hit like button. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching this.